thing on sale, and he has them this week, and that is steaks. What's the steak on sale this week?
London broil, $3.68 a pound, boneless.
Ooh, and I like that one right there.
Oh, tail on shrimp, $5.98.
And the T-bone at $6.98.
I like the shrimp. They don't have the tail on. They're still good.
Okay, well, stop in at Menor Family Foods. Just tell them Charlie said hello. And PJ always likes to stop in here at the mill and see Joe Puno, a great owner and a great supporter of high school sports. Forenza Stone, owner-operator, Mike Fimiani. This is a great place, Larry, to take your wonderful wife and get a new granite top or marble engineered stone. Tell them Charlie sent you. The showroom alone, there's a $30,000 bathroom in it. It's amazing.
You know the Fimianis.
You know the Fimianis.
Yes.
Excellent. The Pintos know the Fimianis. Thumbs up. I love that. They're great people, and Mike Fimiani's been on board now. This is our second year with them, and I walked in that new showroom, and it is just phenomenal. Check out his website at www.forenzastone.com. It's spelled FIRENZASTONE.com. Go see that showroom. It's right on the interchange when you get on the freeway of Vine Street on Route 2 there. It's just magnificent. They got that nice outdoor grill setting. It's what did Jay Batung call it? The Vogue look now. You got to go check that out. You could live right in that little patio area, right?
It's a beautiful location, too, because, like you say, you're hitting it from Cleveland, you're hitting it from the way out east side, Menor, and, of course, beyond. So great location, great place to, especially if you're redoing your home. A lot of people now are forgetting about buying new. They're taking the older home and redoing it, and, boy, he'll give you all the ideas, and they'll be, like you say, the in-style ones.
And my buddy Andy Gruber couldn't sell his house in Kirtland Hills, called Mike Fimiani, put a new granite top on. 6 weeks later, sold. And for $5,000 more than he had wanted. So it works. Judy Moran for commissioner. Elect Judy Moran, November 6th, a 14-year member of Willowick Council. I've worked with her hand in hand. She's excellent, just hands-on kind of person, and the kind of person that Lake County commissioners need to be a part of. And used to like them donuts you used to have over there at that donut shop too, right?
Oh, yeah. I've had a few. More than a few.
Oh, my goodness. I wish it was still open. You need a donut shop in Willowick. Kramer Printing, 440-205-1199. Printing faster than the speed of life. Located at 8634 Station Street. When Cardinal Mooney comes through the line and says, your programs are better than any programs we've ever come across, Lenny Kramer's the guy. Give him a call, 440-205-1199. And we like, again, to thank all our sponsors. It makes this show possible, and we're on location every single week, and without these sponsors, we couldn't be. And we're pretty excited tonight to have a dear friend of mine, and that's Larry Pinto. Larry, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Charlie.
And you brought a couple of your players tonight. But first I want to start off with tip of the hat to our good friend, Dr. Mike Barnes, who I thought did his due diligence. And the big thing was you were able to play that game on Saturday afternoon, which was a curve to me. And when I got in the press box at Menor, they told me you guys had already played, and I didn't know that.
Dr. Kelly and Dr. Barnes did an outstanding job fighting for our kids. I mean, we're governed by the Ohio High School Athletic Association, and they were on our side as well. So, everything worked out. Our kids deserve the right to play in the game, play in the playoff game, and we're proud to make the playoffs. I mean, this is a brutal region, our Division I, Region 1. Brutal region, and we played a hell of a schedule. I'm proud of all our kids. They competed their rear ends off all year round, and I'm really proud of them.
No question about it. We had, I believe, 2 of your games this year, and you told me point blank that Drazen was probably one of the best players you ever coached,
yes,
and that was in week 1.
Yeah.
So, he had a phenomenal year, and to me, should be up for Division I All-State, and I would hope he'll get some votes for that. And it's just the typical defense. We love watching you play, and it's a credit to you and to your coaching staff that you guys you implemented a plan and you carried it out. And what I like most about it is as we move forward, we're still going to talk about this year, but next year you'll definitely be Division II, right?
Yeah, we'll fall in that second tier. Absolutely.
There's no question about it. And I mean, it for teams like you where you have 450 boys, and Solon's got 900, and Ed's got 1,100, and Ignatius has over 1,000. I mean, it just wasn't fair. It should have happened years ago. And I'm, they're preaching to the choir. They told me to do it because I've been saying it for years and years and years. There should have been another division in there because it just wasn't fair. But you never used that as a crutch. As all the conversations you and I have had.
We always, each of these teams could only put 11 on the field. That's what I tell our kids all the time. They only could play with 11, just like us.
Larry, you, Ray, and myself were involved in the Sand Bowl back against Shaw about 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Tell us about that new field.
Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, to have the turf, even the practice on, in these days that it could rain all day during school, and you get out on the turf, and it's perfect. There's perfect lines. It's really, really nice to have a facility like we have. So, kudos to our community who, got the ball rolling, and Ken Miles and Tony Valentino were really spearheaded the cause along with Dr. Barnes and the rest of the Mayfield community to get this thing accomplished.
And Larry, you're only as good as your staff, and let's talk about them. A number of them I know very well.
Oh, they've been outstanding. They've been with me for quite a while. Nader's two young gentlemen, and Ross Bandera, and R.J. Paglio do a great job. R.J.'s dad, Ray, coaches on the defensive side of the ball with the Sam Calla, Jim Nally, and a Dwight Fritz. On the offensive side of the ball, we have Ron Succi, myself, Dave Ungrady, and Rick Dulciato. So we have a hell of a staff. I have a couple former All-State players helping as well. Cody Hayes coaches our nose guards, and Vinny Durdella came out and volunteered a little bit for us. He was an All-State linebacker. So we got some kids coming back that help out with us. And also Stefan English, he played wide receiver for us and at Edinburgh. He comes around too and helps out. It's always good to see those alumni kids come back and want to give back to the program.
Well, before I let Ray at you, you make sure you pass on to your booster club, too. I've, again, back-to-back years, rated the booster dog #1 in high school press boxes. I'll tell you, the food there, just phenomenal. That grilled hot dog that sticks out of the bun is #1, second to none. So, the Cougar dog and the Euclid held the crown for a lot of years in a row, but not anymore. It's the Mayfield hot dog. All right, partner.
Well, Coach, you mentioned how you and your boys, of course, deserve to get where you were. You played a heck of a year, a tough schedule, won most of your games, and it turned out the way it should have. I don't know if you've ever been on that side of things, but I think you have a couple of times when you have a very good season, but you're maybe the 9th team or the 10th team. It's pretty much the same. I don't know. I think your situation was even worse than that, but there's no easy way to look at it when you just miss, is there?
Oh, no. We've been 9th quite a few times, and, it is what it is. I mean, everybody has a chance to play 10 games, and, the teams that beat us this year have a combined record of 50-5. We also beat 3 7-3 teams this year. So most of the teams have been, we play a tough schedule. That NOC division we're in, the River Division, was a hell of a schedule this year. And like I said, our kids came to compete each and every week, and we're very proud of them. We're always undersized. We don't have the biggest kids, but they'll play hard from the start of the game to the final whistle. So we're really proud of them.
You mentioned your league, too, and it is. It's almost like playoffs almost every Friday night. And, again, that is going to help your team and your program, as you well know and the players know, because if it is that kind of an atmosphere and that's a kind of opponent you got to face Friday after Friday after Friday, come week 11 or beyond, you're ready for that. The kids have experienced that.
Yeah, it's like I said, anyone in any given week could beat anybody in our schedule. I mean, in the NOC. Look at teams that may not have great records. Cuyahoga Falls, we go down there and we have to score 52 points to win the game. The week before they lost to Royalton by 1 point. So, I mean, there's never a week off in our conference. And, And even the crossover games. Look at the year Brush had 7-3. We crossed over with them. They won the Valley Division at 7-3. Our crossover was Mentor in the Upper Division, and they're 10-1 right now. I mean, so. We got to be ready to go each and every week, and like I said, the injury bug, if you get one kid injured, sometimes you got to move two people to fill one spot, so I'm proud of the kids. Like I said, they played their tails off each and every Friday night, and they're one of 8 teams in the history of the school to make the playoffs. We had 8 playoff teams in the school's history, and this team's one of them. So they have a lot to be proud of.
Better believe it. And that's something, again, that especially the seniors, we always talk about them because this is it for them, but memory will never go away, and the thrill of being in that 11th week. So keep it up, just keep it there. It will always be there for you. So, again, a great season, and now let's talk to the guys who helped Coach get there, huh?
One more question for Coach, and I may think of another one down the road, but critique Week 12. You played them both. What are fans that are going to be at the game or listening on WLW, Mentor versus St. Ed's?
They're 2 perennial powerhouses. I don't see a weakness right now in St. Ed's. I mean, I think one of their biggest attributes is their team speed. I mean, they got great team speed on both sides of the ball. Very outstanding special teams. I really can't find a weakness in them. I mean, when we traded film and watched them, they're really, really a dynamite team. Men are on the same hand. They're pretty good as well. I mean, I think they're better offensively than they are defensively. Although we struggled against Mentor. I mean, their defense held us in check the night we played them. They were pretty athletic. They were more athletic than I thought they would be. So, anything could happen. I mean, they're both perennial powerhouses playing in a big game, and anything could happen.
Anything, too, although it's Week 12, it's kind of a matchup that you would expect right before the title game, if not the title game. I mean, they're all big at this point because you can't get to 12 without Week 11.
Right.
But it is a marquee early in the playoffs.
No question about it. All right, pass that microphone over, and we'll talk to first. This is
Drazen Markovic.
Drazen, first phenomenal year, and I'm glad you hear what I had to say earlier. I really thought you deserve Division I All-State honors, and I would hope that the votes come your way because you had a phenomenal year. And Coach told us point blank that you were one of his best players he's ever coached. I don't know if he actually said that to you personally, but he did to me, and I thought it was kind of cool that you showed him why, too, this year.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, you had a great year, and it had to be a lot of fun, too.
Yeah, definitely. We changed to the spread offense this year. It was fun. We had athletes. They made plays out there. They certainly do and did. And tell us what it meant to you to get to Week 11 and also to be one of those 8 teams. You know what? We faced a lot of adversity in the last week with the whole situation that happened. And then when we finally found out we were back in the playoffs, everybody was excited. And ultimately, that's what we played for the whole season, was to make it to the playoffs. We didn't end up winning the conference championship, which was one of our goals, but we didn't make it to the playoffs, which was just as important to all the players.
How about the field for you? Just phenomenal to be able to walk on a field like that, and this is our home field. I mean, you had to just love that.
It's definitely a lot better than the field last year. After a couple games, it was torn up. And this year we had practice there all the time, so it was a lot better footing and everything.
Drazen, how big are you?
I'm about 6'1", 180.
And do you play any other sports?
I play basketball and I run track.
Now, you're a senior, right?
Yeah.
And what schools are you looking at?
I mean, I've talked to some smaller schools, but I'm still looking around.
Still looking around? You haven't decided? Do you know what kind of field you want to get into yet? Or
I'm not sure yet.
Not sure yet. But obviously you want to play probably football in college. There's no question about it. I would think that you will, and because you can't look back and say, I wish I would have. So go for it. You'll do very, very well, I'm sure.
Thank you.
All right. We always like to ask some personal questions, and The first one I like, game day routine or superstition. Do you have that?
Not really, no. Just go home, relax for a bit. When we got back up at the high school, go and just get ready to play.
Okay. You don't have to wear the same socks that you did the week before. You had 450 yards or something like that.
No.
Okay, very good. Okay. Who's been your biggest influence on your sport?
Who's been my biggest influence? Probably been my dad.
Your dad?
Yeah, he's always at my games, critiquing me, motivating me, just getting me ready for next week.
Very good. What's the most important thing you've learned at Mayfield, either in football or in the classroom?
Respecting others, respecting your coaches, your players, because that's who you're gonna need.
Oh, that's an excellent answer.
Way, that's for sure.
That's an excellent answer. How about on your bucket list? Something you're going to do 10 years from now that you want to make sure you accomplish?
My bucket list?
Yeah.
Hopefully go to Hawaii one day.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Okay. We've asked this, you might have even had this question asked to you before, but past or present, who would you like to come to dinner? 3 people.
3 people?
To your home.
Peyton Manning, one of them. I would say LeBron, but no, not anymore.
I like that.
He was on the list, but now he can get his own food. I agree with you.
Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
And Usain Bolt.
Excellent. Excellent. He's been named a number of times.
Yeah, last couple of weeks I noticed that, yeah.
Okay. Your favorite play you call in the huddle?
My favorite play?
Let's hear what it is, too.
Just all streaks.
All streaks?
Yeah.
Is that, and what's that, just like fly patterns and stuff?
Just fades. Just
Really?
everyone goes down. Yeah, seams.
I was wondering if it was going to be a run by you, so it's all passing.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, and here's the question we've asked since we started this a month ago. We had Mentor Youth Football Night, and the little kids all went with Romney. But ever since that, now every school that we've done has been Obama. So Obama or Romney?
I probably have to say Obama, too.
Okay, that's what the older kids have said. All right, nice job, and best of luck in college. And Larry will keep me abreast of things. Larry and I play golf every once in a while, and we're good friends.
Thank you.
All righty, good job, Drazen. And this is?
Alex Brooks.
How you doing, Alex?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. And what year are you in, Alex?
I'm a senior.
Senior. Give us something that would have meant to you to get into the playoffs and to play Week 11 and be one of the 8 teams at Mayfield.
Well, it meant a lot to me because I've known everything that we've had to do and all the work we've put into it. And last year, like you asked, if we were 9 or 10, like last year we were 9, and it was kind of the same situation where we were 5-4 going to last week, and we wanted to win to go out as a winner, because to me there's a big difference between 5-5 and 6-4. So we went out last year and did our business, and the cards didn't fall our way. And then this year we went out and we won, and the cards kind of did fall our way. And I felt like Week 9 was kind of a playoff. Week 10, was kind of a playoff game too, because Elyria, if they won, they would have been in, and since we won, we were in. So, I feel like we kind of had 2 playoff games this year.
There's no question about it. That was a gigantic game. What position do you play?
I'm a linebacker.
Linebacker, and your size?
I'm about 6 feet and a half, maybe 210.
Wow, that's great size. And what schools are you looking at?
Kind of like what Jordan said. I've talked to some smaller schools, but I'm still looking around and see what's going on.
And you're going to play football next year?
Yes.
Excellent. And a field yet that you have maybe thinking about?
I don't know. I was kind of thinking about maybe being a teacher or something. So I
tell the kids, Larry's not going to like to hear this, but I always tell him, come on, you go to school for 180 days. Larry loves the golf, so I know he plays a number of those days he's off, he's golfing. So I like that 180 days. That means you're off over 100 days throughout the year, more like 100 and what? You were a teacher for 32
Not
years.
math.
180 days you're off. So there's 360 days in a year. So that's a great, and you're teaching kids. So and you're influencing them. That's got to be something that is probably close to your heart too.
Right.
How about the field? Did you like it?
Yeah, I loved it. In the summer, we were going up there every day after we did our lifting and running. Every day we were seeing how much more they did, and when it was finally done, it was like, wow, like we get to play on this every single day. So this was amazing.
Oh no, I think that, like Larry alluded to, the fact that the community came together and were part of putting that field together. All right. You the same questions, so you had a little one-up on Drazen, but he handled them very well. It's tough going first, though. All right, how about a game day routine or superstition for you?
Well, I mean, like, as my teammates know, like, I drink, like, a lot of Powerade, like, so I'm the guy who, like, is always, I don't want to cramp, so, I mean, I guess just drinking a lot of Powerade.
Well, that's good. That's good that you do that. And I've learned, too, that for our little listeners at home, you want to start doing that even before 24 hours before. You don't have to just do it right before the game, but if you can drink and get hydrated, being a letter carrier like my profession, we learned that, especially as how hot it was this summer. Drink that 8 hours ahead of time, and then 24 hours ahead of time, and not just an hour ahead of time to quench your thirst. What other sports do you play?
I run track.
You run track. What events?
Well, I actually didn't run track my junior year, but my sophomore year I was a 200 guy and a little bit of 4x1.
Cool. Biggest influence on your sport?
Probably my dad too, because I mean he's always been teaching me like how to play and stuff, and like always trying to help out, and like he watches film with me sometimes, and so he just tries to help me out a lot. So I appreciate that.
No question about it. How about the most important thing you learned at Mayfield High so far?
The most important lesson I've learned at Mayfield is character, because there's a lot of people at our school who have high character, and I think it really starts with Coach Pennell, because I mean you'll be out somewhere and you'll say, oh well, where do you go? And you'll say Mayfield, and I say, oh well, Coach Pennell's your coach. Everyone, they only have positive things to say about him, and I mean I just think that last week with all that stuff going on, he always just kept us all level-headed and tried for us not to think about it. And so with Dr. Barnes and Dr. Kelly. So there's just a lot of high-character people at Mayfield.
That's an excellent answer.
Terrific answer, yeah.
All right, your bucket list, something you want to do down the road?
I don't know, maybe go to Fiji or something.
I like that. Okay. Past or present, 3 people coming into dinner at your home?
Probably Barack Obama.
Even if he loses tomorrow?
Yes, even if he loses.
Okay, that's all right.
And then Michael Vick and Abraham Lincoln.
There you go. That's a nice trio there.
And I don't even have to ask, Obama or Romney.
Well, actually, this is the first time I voted, and I voted for Obama.
Well, very good. That had to be a good feeling.
Yeah, it was fun.
Larry, who's coming back next year on this team?
Now we have our tailback, Anthony Canganelli.
Yeah, come on, he seems like he's been playing for the last the human bowling ball.
Got 2 nice-sized tackles. Both the bookend tackles will be back. D linemen, a couple secondary guys, 1 guy in the secondary. Each year it's the same thing,
Sure. How about the younger teams? How about JV?
JVs were 8-2.
Okay, good solid record there. And you have a freshman team?
Yeah, freshmen struggle a little bit. We were 2-8 as freshmen, but our junior high is good.
There you go.
Yeah, so,
Well, the future is always good at Mayfield.
And then it's scheduled.
Good quality
Does
kids.
it change at all?
In our division, Cuyahoga Falls moves down and Shaker moves up, and then Hudson's moving to the upper division, and Medina's moving down in our division.
Is that something they evaluate every year?
Yeah, every
too?
2 years they do that.
I think that's great, too, because, things do change. And not drastically, but enough that a team playing in that upper division really doesn't belong there and vice versa. And then down the line, maybe to get influx of some kids and you go back. So I like that. Just like now the high school, Ohio High School is doing that. At least they're doing it on a 2-year basis rather than you're in and that's where you stay. That's tough. That's real tough. So I give credit to your league and the people running that to see that it is
no question about it.
It's good,
And at quarterback, will it be up for grabs, or you got a couple candidates?
We had a freshman. We moved up to our JV, so he'll be we moved him up as a freshman. Figured, he'll be like a sophomore. Next year he'll be a junior. He'll be a sophomore, but will play like a junior.
Sure.
He's a
he was 8-2, right?
Yeah, very athletic kid. He does a nice job. We have high hopes for him.
No question about it. Well, Larry, we appreciate you coming out today, especially 2 days after the game, and talking Mayfield football. We always love to have you. We'll have you on our preview show in August, like we always do at Cleats, and we'll catch up down the road. Our good buddy Keith said, make sure, Ladrowski, that I said hello to you, and we leave for Columbus this week. In fact, I will miss the St. Ed's Menor game, which I was supposed to do on the radio, but I will not be there. And looking forward to week 3 of the playoffs, and hopefully Men's still in it. And if not, we'll be doing Kirtland maybe. So.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out, guys. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Let's hear it for Larry Pinto, Alex Brooks, and Drazen Markovich. You'll see a pen on the banner. I need your autographs. Thanks for coming out. Ray, what's on the menu here tonight?
Well, Joe's got some good items, as always. There's great food here at the Mill Tavern, not just tonight, but any day, and lunches and the whole gamut. He's got that little phrase, meet me at the mill, and that's what you want to do and order something. Got wings, of course, delicious wings here. You got 12 of them, dozen for $7. You only want a half an order, get that too. Chicken tenders, of course, all the sides, French fries, onion rings, mozzarella sticks. A couple of salads available tonight. You got chicken salad, tuna salad, and you know what our favorite is? The Mill Burger, and that's a lot of people's favorite because when I mention a Mill Tavern, they generally say he still has that Mill Burger, doesn't he? And he does. Or just a regular cheeseburger, chicken sandwich, BLTs, and great fries. So come on down, have some refreshments and some great food, and talk to one of the top owners around, just Mr. Personality, really, Joe Puno. And have a good time always at the Mill. Very easy to find. We're on the corner of Wilson Mills and Bishop. Can't miss it.
No question about it. I'm Ray Malavik, too, live on www.wlw.com and 1330 AM WELW.
It's truck season, and Pat O'Brien Chevrolet has them. Over 860 trucks, and every one is GM preferred price, and you keep the rebates up to $8,000. Buy yours fast and easy at Pat O'Brien Chevrolet with 4 convenient locations. You'll find over 2,000 vehicles on sale at Pat O'Brien Chevrolet. Every car, every truck is GM preferred priced, and you keep the rebates up to $8,000. Buy yours fast and easy at Pat O'Brien Chevrolet with 4 convenient locations.
If removing fallen leaves from your lawn is a hassle you want to avoid this fall, here are 3 words for you. Ward's Lawn Care. Yes, Ward's Lawn Care can handle leaf cleanup and removal, as well as ridding your property of unsightly shrubs and unwanted bushes. And if you want to have your yard be the best in the neighborhood next summer, have Ward's Lawn Care replace your lawn this fall. And don't wait until a driveway is covered with a few inches of snow before you start thinking about wintertime snow removal. Let Ward's handle that for you too. For a free estimate, call Ward's Lawn Care and Landscaping at 440-942-1912. 942-1912.
Do you know the difference between a bumblebee, honeybee, carpenter bee, wasp, hornet, or yellow jacket? I don't, and I don't want to know. And I don't know about spiders, ants, or any other bugs and creepy crawly things. Ooh! But I know I don't want them in my home. Not around my family or my food. That's why I call the experts at Patent Pest Control. They're licensed and bonded and use only EPA-registered materials. Be wise. Patentize with Patent Pest Control. Call 1-800-553-9088.
To quench your thirst, there's nothing like pure, cooling spring water. Sunrise Springs Water Company derives their water in the heart of Geauga County. But they're more than just water. From the same company you know for great water, they also provide water softener, salt, filters, and all water treatment services, including delivery, installation, and maintenance. Visit Sunrise Springs Water Company at sunrisespringswater.com or call 440-564-9743. Find them on Facebook and Twitter. Sunrise Springs Water Company. More than just water.
You're trying to sell your house or condo. You've washed and painted, but how can you make it look bigger? SOS! SOS! Storage on site to the rescue. They'll bring a unit to your driveway so you load it as you want. Then they drive your locked, tight possessions to their secure warehouse until you're ready, which will be soon because your current place will look better and bigger than ever. SOS is your smart, affordable, and efficient solution. Call 1-800-976-4SOS or visit storageonsite.com.
Welcome back. with Malta and Ray Malavic too, and we're live at the Mill Tavern, where the number one burger is served here. That is the Mill Burger. Stop in and have one, and enjoy the show, and we'll meet Joe Puno. There's nobody better than Joe Puno in the bar business. Ray?
Well, today's program, all our Mondays with Malta, for that matter, brought to you by some great people and some great businesses like Matrix Tool and Machine with Rich Wilson, the owner-operator there. Clements Construction, Mike Clement runs the show. Pepco, Jack Borky, and next week it's the Jack Borky Show as we bring back some of the legends in Cleveland Browns history, and that will be Cleo Miller, and it will be also Greg Pruitt. Boy, that's going to be a high-energy show, and our third person joining us will be
Sam Ritigliano,
the coach. So you got the coach and some players, and a lot of stories next week. So be sure you're there in person. If you can't be, don't miss any of it on AM 1330 WLW or catch it on WLW.com. That's next week from Cleats. Also, we have D&W Goods with Dan Phillips supplying our shirts that we wear like I have on tonight. Menor Family Foods, we mentioned that P.J. Conway stops here a lot. He was here today a little bit before the show, and Charlie got to talk to his good friend and good sponsor. Forenza Stone with operator Mike Fimiani, and we found out, small world, a buddy of Coach Larry Pintos. Judy Moran running for commissioner. She's well qualified. Tomorrow's her day, as all the candidates. This is what they've been working hard for over the past, several months, several years, really. And Judy trying for that commissioner spot. And tomorrow, about this time, most of the results will be in, and we'll start to see the picture. And, of course, as always, great election results heard right here on AM 1330 WLW. So tune in and get the tallies before they're going to be published the next day in the papers. So, Judy, good luck. Kramer Printing, Lenny Kramer, and Charlie mentioned the fact that when visiting teams walk into places where Lenny produces the programs, it's like an ooh and an ah because they see something that they're just not used to seeing. He does a professional program for high school sports, and, of course, there's nothing Lenny doesn't do that's not professional, that's for sure. And did I miss anybody? No, I think I got them all, so we'd like to thank them, as always, for their weekly support here and bringing Charlie and myself to you and to our guests. It's been a lot of fun for a lot of years, and we'll always have some new sponsors joining us for the second half of our season, and we'll kind of keep those under wraps, but some good, fine new businesses will be jumping on with Mondays with Malta as well.
Okay, Ray. Rarely do we have the opportunity to take phone calls, and if you would like to give us a call, you can call us now at 1-440-942-9359. And we're kind of excited because we don't have a lot of opportunity to do that as we wait for Mayfield's wrestling team and then Notre Dame football and wrestling coaches and team. So, again, if you'd like to give us a call, talk some high school football, talk some upcoming Browns we're going to have on the show next week, whatever the case may be, you can call Ray or Charlie at 440-942-9359. And I know there's a lot of listeners all over the country, so if you want to tune, you're tuned in and want to give us a call, please do. As we'll keep the theme right now, Ray, on high school football, and we're going to try and pick who's going to win next week. And maybe if we have time during the Brown show, we'll see how we did. So let me put my glasses on so I can read this font here. And first off, we have St. Ed's versus Menor. They're playing at Byers Field on Saturday. Who do you like there?
Well, boy, that, like I mentioned, talking to Coach Peno, and he certainly agrees, having, the rare occasion of playing both of those teams. I mean, when you have a coach and a team that has played two teams that are meeting in a matchup like that his opinion goes a long way. And I don't know, he didn't really come out and say it, but I think his comments led me to believe he thinks St. Ed's is the team in that game. And, I haven't seen them. We've seen Menor, of course. They're one of the schools we cover quite a bit. At the game they had last week, what can you say about Mitch Trubisky? Could it be another Mr. Football from Mentor, another quarterback. He's certainly in the hunt. He's one of the top candidates for that honor. What did he have? I think 5 touchdowns passing, 1 touchdown running. You called the game.
Counted for 6 touchdowns.
Wow. I mean, what else can you ask for? And he's done that all year. I mean, this is the thing. So you've got a premier quarterback. You have a premier group of wide receivers. I mean,
and Triv did say, I said, I know we don't compare eras with you, but these two, Fritz and Krasancic, have to be the two of your finest wide receivers ever. And he said unquestionable.
Yeah, and the thing is, they've had great experience because they started as sophomores, I mean, and right in the flow. Sometimes you get a pretty good sophomore, like Larry mentioned, he has a quarterback coming up, and you bring him from the freshman team. In his case, he had a freshman, and you put him up on a JV team just so that he's getting a little bit closer to action on a varsity level. And it helps. It helps a lot. Well, these kids, you mentioned Krasancic particularly, they were in the mix of the varsity team as a 10th grader, what I mean? So
no
it's not like they're getting prepped on a lower level so that they can, go have an easier rise when they hit the varsity on Friday night. But the bottom line is that is a game. I mean, you're talking about a matchup that is going to be unbelievable. The crowd, what a place to play it. The only thing about Byers Field that I never like to go to, especially if I had to broadcast the game, was they have the steepest steps to that press box I've ever seen. Even when I was in a little bit younger, in a little bit better shape, I still stopped 3 times getting to the top. But it is a place to see a big game because, let's face it, over the years, some of the biggest games ever have been played there, next to the title games, of course. But boy, I'll tell you, my heart says Mentor. Being local, being that we saw him get so close on those back-to-back years, but we're making picks here, right? So I'm going with the Eagles of St. Ed's, and no stranger to our Mayfield group with their head coach Rick Finn. I'm going with the Eds. How about you, partner?
I'm going to stick with the Cardinal Red, and I'm going to take the Mentor Cardinals. They're on a roll. They're playing great defense, even though Harding did score 35 points, but we may have seen one of our best tailbacks, LaShawn Daniels, all year long. He can really play. He's going to be playing for Boston College next year. So my pick is the Cardinals to go on to Week 3, and I sure hope so. Since I'm going to miss the game, I'll be in Columbus. So,
okay.
So there's our first game. Again, if you'd like to weigh in or give us a call at 440-942-9359, please do, and we'd love to talk to you. We never get this opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe.
Joe Puno. I just love coming here to the Mill Tavern, and I will be ordering that Millburger shortly when the show is over. Our next game in Region 1, Division 1, will pit St. Ignatius, Tim McVeigh, one of the top runners in this of Ohio, versus North Royalton, who's got a quarterback that's the real deal.
Well, North Royalton knocked off my favorite team, and I know a little surprised to see the Rebels not in Week 12, or 11, I should say, but it was a close game, 38-35. I thought the difference would be Kareem Hunt. He had a good game, but maybe not a typical Kareem Hunt type of game, but that's because he was playing a very, very good, solid Division I team in North Royalton. Well, North Royalton, gets by an undefeated team in Willoughby South and now takes on a St. Ignatius team with only 1 loss so far, and that was to the team we were talking about earlier, St. Ed's. Another key matchup. I mean, here I think I am going with tradition. I'm going with experience. I mean, what team has won more state titles in football since the playoff system has begun, besides St. Ignatius, I should say? Chico Kyle, again, with a great staff, a bunch of players. So nothing against North Royalton, but I think they had their big win of the year last week. I know they did. And I think St. Ignatius will advance by beating North Royalton.
Well, that's a good choice. And I'll say an easy choice for two. Like you alluded to the fact that Chico Kyle, 300 wins. Just amazing coach and coaching staff he has there. They're really on a roll. They did get a bump in the road against Ed's 2 weeks ago, But I think it's a mismatch and a big one as they're going to roll over the North Royalton Ball Club this coming Saturday night. And
that game is played where, Charlie?
That'll be at Lakewood Stadium.
Right. Okay, they had a light problem there, I guess, last week, so that had to do with that Frankenstorm, right? But should be okay this week.
All right, now moving down to Division II, Region 5, and just a rematch of just a tremendous game this year. Number 8 seed, who bumped off a number 1 seed, Kenston, at 7-4, will face Chardon and at Jerome T. Osborne Field.
I thought the comments of the coach at Kenston to his players was really interesting. When you go into the March Madness, for instance, they always tout the fact that no number, what's the lowest seed there? I forget. They have like 16 teams, I think. A 16 has never beat a 1, okay?
Sure.
Very rare that an 8 beats a 1 in these playoffs, right? But guess what? It happens, and it happened last week in this game featuring the Bombers from Kenston. So what that just means is Kenston has a very, very good football team. We get to read about them and hear about them because they're in a local CVC league, which, again, we follow a lot with Wycliffe being there and Perry and some of the other locals. And they're strong. And Chardon, maybe this is the storybook season. They had all that tragedy out there. It's still not forgotten, never will be forgotten. And yet they've rallied, the community rallied, they overcame that. The football team, you don't do that on emotion. You don't get to week 12 or 11 strictly on emotion. You got to have a good football team. They do. But they also have that riding for them. And the memory of those kids are in those players' minds. And I tell you what, you get a good football team with something like that to play for, and you got a dangerous situation. So I look for that to be one heck of a game. If you're looking for a smash-mouth football game like the old days, don't miss this one. Chardon and Kenston. Boy, and it's a hard one to pick, but I'm going to go with that emotion. I'm going with the Hilltoppers. Their former star quarterback, Hewitt, now calling the plays there.
Excellent. Before I make my choice, you've always had a penchant each and every year to figure out who all the undefeated teams were and start marking X's when they would lose. So I'm going to go back up to Division I and let our listeners at home know who those undefeated teams, along with St. Ed's, Division I. In Region 2, it's Toledo, and they have a tough task against Hudson. Hudson's really on a roll. I wouldn't want to meet them now. In Region 3, Hilliard Derby, and we've heard that name before. They're undefeated. They played Pinkerine North. And that's it for Region 3. Region 4, a big one down there. Cincinnati Coleraine is undefeated at 11-0. And they take on Cincinnati Elder at 8-3. Those 3 losses are all to top 10 state qualifying teams.
And, the so-called experts, and that's what they are, so-called experts, sometimes by their own doing, seem to think, everything I've heard, everything I've read, that Coleraine is the premier team in the state. Well, let's put it this way. They may be through week 11, but this is week 12, so let's see what happens. But boy, I'll tell you, you're right. I do like that idea because, there aren't many undefeated teams. That's why I bring that up. And then you see one get knocked off, like a Willoughby South in the first week of the playoff, and that number dwindles real quickly. So, all right, but I got to pick something there, huh?
No.
We're just talking
zeros. Yeah, we're just talking zeros.
Zero losses, right.
Okay, and now in Division 2, you took Chardon. Boy, this is a real tough game for me to choose. My heart's with Chardon. I think Kenston's got a real good chance to knock him off. But we know an AD out there, and Tim Armelli at one time, and he's a good one. And I'm going to go with the Chardon Hilltoppers to upend Kenston for the second time. It's tough to do, but they will do it and move on to Week 3. So we agree on that one. Now in Region 2, we got Tiffin Columbian. They're undefeated at 11-0. They face Avon. Avon, always a good team at 10-1.
You know, a team that we don't hear much about because they're on the west side of town, but you're right. They are always knocking on the door. If they're not in the playoffs, they're right there. Very rarely do they get the chance to match up against one of our local. We don't get to see them, but I'll tell you what, they do a great job out there. I don't know much about what went on with them this year, except that here they are.
10-1.
That's right, 10-1. They lost to somebody, and who knows when that was. They may have a 9-8 game winning streak. So, bottom line is they're always there and always tough.
And I'm told they have a beautiful stadium out there. So it's
like
not really that tough
they're
to get
a
out
secret.
there.
They're a secret to us East Siders.
Right. And down in Region 7, we got one of your zeros, and that's Dresden Tri-Valley at 11-0. They faced New Albany, who are at 9-2. And that's it for Region 7. In Region 8, Cincinnati Turpin, who is Division 2 this year, last year Division 1, they're 11-0. They faced Franklin at 10-1. And that does it for Division 2. Now on to Division 3, and I'm going to have you pick this one because you got a friend in the coaching ranks in this game here. We got Chagrin Falls at 10-1 versus Ravenna at 7-4.
Well, we got a couple of friends because, first time Ravenna popped up on our WLW radar. They came in to play Willoughby South. They also have played Lake Catholic, so we're kind of familiar with Ravenna and their coach, a guy named Coach Lenardi. And he's a Willoughby South grad. He has his brother, who was a good player also at Willoughby South, coaching with him. At least he did. I assume he's still with him this year, but there's a local flavor there anyway. And it's a good, solid program. Again, one of those that, we don't hear about too much during the year, but when we look at who's playing who on weeks 10 or 11, I should say, and 12, Ravenna's right there. Now, normally they get to this spot, and they haven't yet been able to win the game to go ahead, to go on to that week 13 and maybe beyond. But they're well coached. Everyone that has played them has beaten them in the area over the years, but that's the first thing out of the coach's mouth. This team could really play football. So, Chagrin Falls, what do you say? The last couple of years, state champ, knocking on the door, Final Four, Final Two. The person you alluded to, of course, long-time coordinator over at Lake Catholic, and that's John Kramer. And, of course, he's no stranger to our listeners because he does a lot of basketball games, and he'll be starting that up once football ends. And they really have put themselves on the map. I mean, we've known Chagrin Falls when I was at Wycliffe for years because they've always been in the CVC. And it's a smaller type school with tough kids, just like a Wycliffe is, just like a Kirtland is, but a little bit bigger than those two schools. And they got that experience again. I mean, that's so important, I mean, Ravenna has two, though. So, I mean, I'm saying one thing, and on the other side of the field, this team's also. But, oh, boy, this one I'm going with Chagrin Falls. I'm staying local with it. Where's that game being played at? Solon, I think?
Solon, Stewart Field.
Beautiful facility, yep.
No question about it. You mentioned the Leonardis, and you can't mention the Sons without mentioning the Pop. And Ham is just a great guy. Locally, always used to see him at Daniels and Gilson just hitting home run after home run over those fences.
And as umpires, we got to really know him because he was a catcher most of those years. And we always had a good conversation going with Hambone. Huh?
Oh, yeah, there's no question about it. And down the road, we're definitely got to, with all our softball experience and influence, we're going to have to do another softball show down the road. We've done some good ones, and they're a lot of fun.
I'll never forget the one from the Captain's Club. It was an awesome show, but we really didn't get everybody on.
It was amazing.
And we were hardly breathing. I mean, we were just one guy after another, and we ran out of time with about a half a dozen guests still to go. So you're right. That's a must down the line, Charlie. I want you to set that up, man.
There's no question about it. Okay.
But pick your winner first.
All right. Well, they said in the beginning of the year that Chagrin Falls, this was their best team. You got a guy like John Kramer coming over there, and hats off to John, who's doing a really, really, really nice job. And Johnny Mandato's over there helping out, too.
Not slight the head coach, Marino. He's really, when he's got there, they've always had good teams. I mean, they've been solid from as long as I've known part of them being in the CVC. But they've stepped it up now. I mean, now they're what we call perennial state contenders.
And I'm going to go with Chagrin Falls.
Okay, boy, we don't have that one big difference. That's all we got so far, but we got a few more to call off here. Let's see what we got.
All right. Next up.
Might as well take this right up to the top, and, we got a few more minutes. We'll be ready for a break.
Yeah, and then we'll have our friends from the Notre Dame Falcons. Okay, next up, first the undefeated teams in Division III, and Bryan is undefeated. Wait till you hear this game. Napoleon in Region 10 at 10-0-1 versus Bryan 11-0.
First of all, you just said a real oddity. 10-0-1.
I know.
I mean, in the days of sudden death now, not sudden death, but overtime. Although,
I would love that it happen.
Well, they play. Remember, if the playoff game, there's got to be a winner, obviously. But in the regular season,
4 plays from the 20.
Yeah, all I can is there has to be a rare situation. In other words, because
they ran out of time.
The other team gets a chance to answer. And if they tie it up, they do it again, and again and again. Longest game I ever did on WLW was about 5 to 8 years ago, and it was a 7 overtime game. But the bottom line was there was a winner. I mean, somebody won. So that might be something where the lights went out. I mean, that sounds crazy, but it could be. When they were in an overtime situation, the power went out, scoreboard went, whatever. But unless it's a misprint, too. But that is unusual.
Think so.
They certainly didn't tie last week, or they wouldn't be playing this week. So, but basically, you got 2 undefeated teams going in.
And how about this? In Division III, the only undefeated teams are playing against each other. Wow.
Now that is a rarity, too. Yeah.
No question about it. Okay, we're going to jump over to Region 4. Check out the undefeated teams. Brookfield is playing Akron Manchester. They're undefeated. Brookfield at 11-0. Creston Norwayne, 11.
Norwayne, sure.
11.
Usually always there.
Yep. Here's one, Columbus Bishop Hartley. They're 11-0. They play Richwood North Union at 11-0. Wait to hear this in Region 14. Region 14 also, all 4 teams are undefeated.
There you go.
Ottawa 11-0 versus Genoa area at 11-0 at Finley Donnell Stadium. Wow.
Oh, my gosh. Look at
Region
that.
15, St. Clairsville is undefeated.
Hey, that's where my, let's go back. That's where my grandma on my mom's side was born.
Really?
It's a very small little community, and still is. But you know what? It's funny because I see them pop up in the playoffs in that division quite often. So, good. St. Clairsville.
All right, and Region 16, it's Clarksville, Clinton, Massey undefeated versus Batavia undefeated. Wow, so there's quite a few undefeated teams in in Division 4, Region 13, 14, 15, and 16.
But there won't be any after Sunday or after Saturday night. I mean, there'll be half of them, right?
Okay. Division 5, and that finds our familiar Tiger Laverty and the Kirtland Hornets undefeated play Columbiana Crestview undefeated. Who do you like?
That's a good one. They're all good at this point, but, Kirtland, what can you say about them either? They have really put themselves on the map over the past 4 or 5 years, and that's because of a certain young individual who you alluded to, their head coach, Tiger Laverty. We had some good coaches at Kirtland over the years. Good buddy Dan Krakura was over there. Always a solid program for a very, very small school system. Now, we're talking about, they're not quite maybe as small as a Fairport. And let's give just a little congratulations to Fairport, who got into the playoffs. They lost last week, but they got there. And, there you're talking about a team that I know early in the season maybe dresses 20, 25 kids, but come midseason toward the playoffs, they're down to probably most players playing both ways, and yet here they did. They got into the playoffs. So hats off to them. Boy, I don't know much about Columbiana other than they're always in the playoffs pretty much every year. If not, they're right there knocking on the door. But I'll tell you what, Kirtland, I don't know their record over the last 5 years, but I want to find that out. Not throughout the playoffs, and they haven't lost much in the playoffs when you're back-to-back state champ. But it has to be the best record among all the teams in a regular season.
It's something like 65-5 or something.
I mean, it would have to be because they're constantly 10 wins, if not 9. Will they win again this week? Yes. I think Kirtland is, that's a storybook thing because it's that old Hoosier thing, from the movies. Everybody jumps on a bandwagon because you don't need that big of a bandwagon. You don't need that many people to jump on it.
No.
But they all do. And, wow, that's going to carry them again. And let's just tell it like it is. They have a very good football team. This back, Damon Washington, Kareem Hunt got all the accolades, and he should because he had a storybook season. Washington's right behind him. And I like Kirtland. I like him a lot.
And I'm going to ditto that, Kirtland to win, and go on to meet either Youngstown Ursuline or Cuyahoga Heights. I'd love to see a Cuyahoga Heights upset Ursuline, but we'll have to wait and see. We're at the top of the hour. You're listening to Mondays with Malta Ray Malavic, too. And you're listening on 1330 AM WELW and www.welw.com.
Wake up, Lake County. Hi, I'm Linda Uhas.
And I'm Steve Newman. Join Ellen and me at 7 a.m. with Congressman Steve LaTourette.
Bonnie Cantor from the Ohio Department of Aging explains the impact of severe weather on seniors.
And our Election Central coverage begins at 7 p.m.
on the Talk of the Town, AM 1330 WELW.
It's football season in Northeast Ohio with cold temperatures and rugged Cleveland weather, and you'll want to keep your family safe on the roadways. Halpert Subaru understands how important your family's safety is to you. So right now, there's 1.9% financing available to lease a 2013 Subaru Legacy 2.5i AWD for as low as $169 per month for up to 36 months and $2,149 due at lease signing. How about the new 2013 Subaru Forester 2.5X with 1.9% financing to lease for $199 per month for 36 months with $1,689 total due at lease signing? Imagine how safe your family will be in a new Subaru. You can always count on these road-hugging, sure-footed automobiles manufactured with all-wheel drive that transfer the powers from the wheels that slip to the wheels that grip. Call Halpert Subaru on Menor Avenue in Painesville Township, 440-352-3700.
We are WWE Cleveland. Get ready for WWE SmackDown. Televised worldwide from Quicken Loans Arena, Tuesday night, November 13th. You'll see the Great White Sheamus.
I'm going to annihilate anyone who dares to step in the ring.
In a vicious and brutal triple threat match for the World Heavyweight title versus the Mexican aristocrat, Alberto Del Rio, and the Viper, Randy Orton.
I am more dangerous than I have ever been.
Plus the Big Red Monster Kane, Cody Rhodes, Brodus Clay, Sin Cara, and more. And will Mr. Money in the Bank Dolph Ziggler cash in his contract at the Q? What will SmackDown GM Booker T have in store for the WWE Universe? Find out Tuesday night, November 13th. Tickets start at $20. The best value in entertainment. Don't wait. Get yours now at the box office, theqarena.com, and all Northern Ohio discount drug marts.
You've heard of the internet, but do you know it can add convenience to your daily life? Our family recently got high-speed internet service at home, and now we wonder how we ever live without it. We save time and money by using online banking and bill pay. We find recipes and travel guides instantly. Schoolwork's a lot easier for the kids, too. Everything is right at their fingertips.
I research school projects and chat with my friends.
Reconnecting with family and friends across the country is easier now. Seems like online. And after the Every Citizen online classes at my local library, I am too. The kids were already online, at school, at their friend's house. Now I can understand what they're up to and be a little more involved in their lives. If your kids are online, shouldn't you be?
Connect Ohio is offering free training to help you get online. They'll show you how to use computers and broadband service. Call 1-855-669-4226 to find out where classes are available in your area. Get connected. Life is better with broadband.
Sponsored by Connect Ohio and aired by the OAB and this station.
Join Ellen Foley Kessler, Dale Fellows, and guests for All Politics is Local, a show with informative and insightful discussion of how national, state, and local issues affect politics and you in Lake County and Northeastern Ohio. Every Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. here on the Talk of the Town, AM 1330, WELW.
Wake up, Lake County. Hi, I'm Linda Uhas.
And I'm Steve Newman. Join Ellen and me at 7 a.m. with Congressman Steve LaTourette.
Bonnie Cantor from the Ohio Department of Aging explains the impact of severe weather on seniors.
And our Election Central coverage begins at 7 p.m.
On the Talk of the Town, AM 1330 WELW.
Join Ellen Foley Kessler, Dale Fellows, and guests for All Politics is Local, a show with informative and insightful discussion of how national, state, and local issues affect politics and you in Lake County and northeastern Ohio. Every Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. here on the Talk of the Town, AM 1330 WELW.
Welcome back to Mondays with Malta and Ray Malavic 2. We're live at the Mill Tavern. Come on out. The food is just phenomenal. After I get done reading our sponsors, we're going to have Ray read a list of what's on that menu. It's just out of this world. I've already ordered my Mill platter. When I will be off the air at 9 o'clock, I will be chomping it down. Tonight's program is brought to you by D&W Goods. Dan Phillips, owner-operator. You need any silk screening, any kind of embroidering, he is the guy to go to. Just simply phenomenal. 440-342-2002. Pepco Jack Borky put together the show next week. Pepco is a wholesaler distributor of electrical and telecommunications. 440-946-3790.
Join us.
Clements Construction. Mike Clements, owner-operator. 440-951-2033. Clements has been with us since day one. And our tip of our hat to Mike Clements. You need a new roof, please give him a call. There's so many tarps on top of roofs. Call Mike Clements. He'll fix it in a jiffy. 440-951-2033. With that,
WELW, Willoughby, Eastlake, Cleveland.
Matrix Tool and Machine, Rich Wilson, owner-operator, proud sponsors of Mondays with Malta, and high school sports, Menor Middle School lacrosse, and Lake Catholic's Chinese auction. Menor Family Foods, our good buddy PJ Conway stopped in, said hello, and Menor Family Foods always has exactly what you need. Stop in. The holidays are coming up. There's where you want to shop for your groceries, on the corner of Lakeshore and Route 306. The small guy in the big grocery business, but he takes care of every one of your needs. Forenza Stone, owner-operator Mike Fimiani, 216-780-4938, located at 37033 Vine Street. It's just the most beautiful building on the corner of Vine and the interchange where you're going to jump on that freeway. Well, jump over to that store and check it out, or go on their website, www.forenzastone.com. The showroom, simply incredible. A $30,000 bathroom inside that showroom. The granite and marble top, engineered stone like nobody else has. Go see Mike Fimiani. He is the best when it comes to granite and marble, that's for sure. Judy Moran for commissioner. Judy's going to make a stop here at the Mill Tavern or give us a buzz tonight, a night before the election. Judy Moran is who you want in Lake County, 14-year member of Willowick Council. She knows businesses because she had the best donut shop in probably Willowick's history. So stop in and see her here at the Mill Tavern, probably right around 8:45. Kramer Printing, 440-205-1199. Printing faster than the speed of light and life. Lenny, just a great guy. Does all the programs for Lake Catholic, does the East Lake North programs, and without question is one of our great sponsors who's been with us for quite some time. So it gives us great pleasure to introduce a guest that we've had on before, and he calls the games for ND Notre Dame. I almost said Notre Dame Cathedral Latin, but it's Notre Dame College, and it gives us great pleasure to introduce Andy Barch. Andy, welcome back to the show.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, guys.
Andy, let's do your history again for those who missed you the first time around last year, and where you came from, high school, college, and how you got started in the broadcast business.
Went to Brush, graduated in 1999. From there, it was on to Bowling Green State University. I was there all 4 years there and did a bunch of radio stuff there, basketball play-by-play, football play-by-play, some baseball as well. Was in front of the camera, scary as that may seem. Did a little TV work. I was at Bowling Green during the Urban Meyer, Dan Dockich era, so that was a lot of fun. We had a blast with that. And from there, I went to Jamestown, New York, spent a year in the New York Penn League with the Jambers, and they were a Marlins affiliate. From there, spent the next 6 seasons with the West Virginia Power, the old Charleston Alley Cats. They had 3 separate affiliates when I was their voice. and took a year off from broadcasting. I moved back up here to take the job at Notre Dame College as the assistant director of athletic communications, which is the title I still hold there. Do some basketball broadcasts for Notre Dame, all the football games, and I'm also the radio announcer for the Lake Erie Crushers over on the west side as well in Avon.
Wow. And the Crushers, what sport is that for our listeners?
Baseball. Independent. No affiliation. The big difference there, the captains are immediately affiliated with the Indians. That is completely independent. The Crushers have no affiliation whatsoever. So it's obviously a major difference. Quality of baseball, I still think, is pretty solid out there as well. But, again, the big difference between what they have out there and what you have in Eastlake is the fact that there's no direct affiliation.
Uh-huh. And you have a beautiful stadium, too, from what I'm told.
It's pretty awesome. I enjoy the aspect of turf, and let me tell you why. I mean, you guys know how it is. When you're calling a baseball game, nothing hurts you more than when you get to the fourth inning and it's pouring down rain, and then it stops raining, and the field is absolutely soaked, and you look at the warning track areas, you think to yourself, it might be done raining, but we're not going to play here for at least another hour. You don't have that problem on a turf surface. It could rain real hard for 45 minutes. You could endure monsoon-type conditions. And because you're playing on turf, it doesn't matter. You're going to be up and running again in 5 or 10 minutes. So something I don't mind. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot, Andy. Your most favorite game you ever called?
I've got a few. There's one that takes me all the way back to my college days. Bowling Green was playing in Evanston, Illinois, against Northwestern. Now, interesting story. This was back during about a month or two after 9/11. Originally, this is a game that was scheduled later on. They weren't supposed to play Northwestern at the beginning of the year. They were supposed to go to Columbia, South Carolina, take on the Gamecocks. At the time, it was Lou Holtz who was the head coach. Now, that game was to take place, I think, 3 days after 9/11. And obviously, as we all know, all those games were canceled because of the tragedy. And they looked at the schedule and said, we've got to schedule an 11th game. So they decided to go to Evanston, Illinois, and they played Northwestern. Well, at the beginning of the season, Northwestern was a heavy favorite to win the Big Ten. Then they endured some injuries along the way, and they just didn't end up being as good as everybody thought. But still, this is a Bowling Green. They were supposed to have no chance playing in Evanston. So I had the opportunity to do the play-by-play for that. And this is one of the games that really kind of got Coach Meyer on the map. It was a 14-point game. Less than 5 minutes, Bowling Green's down. They drive down the field, they score. Cut the deficit down to 7. Northwestern, on the ensuing drive, has to pick up a 3rd and 5. If they pick it up, Notre Dame, or I should say Bowling Green, is out of timeouts. Well, the tailback picks up the first down, but he doesn't go down, and he fumbles it at the Bowling Green 25-yard line. So there's new life for the Falcons. They get it. They drive down the field. And then they score with about 40 seconds left. Now, Coach Meyer, knowing they're the big underdog of this game, says, I'm not just going to tie this thing up and take a shot at overtime. We're going to try and win this thing right now. So they go for 2. And he runs an option end around, and the kid takes it in. 2-point conversion's good. On the ensuing kickoff, ball goes out of bounds. So you're thinking, okay, any kind of momentum they may have just established was given right back to Northwestern, because now you've got to go about 30 yards down the field, and you have a pretty good chance at a game-winning field goal. 2 plays later, the pass is intercepted, and Bowling Green walks away with a massive upset victory. That's the first one that really stands out to me.
Wow.
That's for sure.
There's no question about it. How about who's been your most influential person that you've met along the way?
In broadcast, I would say Joe Tate. And I think one of the cool things about Joe is the fact that, I first met him at a banquet he came to speak at Bowling Green about 10 years ago. I had written Joe back and forth, and one of the cool things about Joe is that every time you send Joe a letter, he sends one handwritten right back to you. I mean, you'll get it within a few weeks. And I hadn't seen Joe in years and years and years. Well, anyways, I was calling a game for the Crushers last summer. And Joe had acted like, we just met the other day. I mean, he was so awesome. But you meet Joe Tate, as great as he was at calling Cavalier games for all those years, and I mean, we all know he dealt with some pretty bad teams. Sure. Yet, you still made it a point to listen to a Cavs game because you wanted to listen to Joe. I mean, he was so good that as bad as that team was, you still wanted to listen because it's just how good he was. Well, as great as Joe was on the air, and as great as Joe to a certain degree still is on the air because he still calls football games for Mount Union, he was even better off And that's one of the things I think I always learned from Joe. You could be the absolute best broadcaster in the business, but if you were a complete jerk off the air, people will find reasons not to like you, and they'll find reasons not to listen to you.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Some great answers.
Just pump in here a little bit. We had every year out the captains, we have a Legends Night. And they bring out some of the athletes, from the Cleveland team in the past. And this year they brought with some of those Joe Tate. And, he came up to our booth earlier before the game, and Craig Deese had an interview with him and what have you, and I sat in on that. And, boy, you just hit it on the head. I mean, this guy, now, he was moving kind of slow. Had a assist of a cane or a walker. I forget what it was. But once he sat down, behind, we put the headset on. That's his home. I mean, he was so relaxed. And that interview, and in fact, I asked for a copy of it just to listen to it once in a while because the pro's pro. And what I noticed more than anything was what you just said. Obviously, on air, one of the best there ever was. Off air, one of the best there ever was. So, and that is the difference. And let's tell like it is. You've met people, I've met people that are in that business, and off the air, they're not like they are on the air. So there's that little bit of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing, but not with Joe Tate. He's just Joe Tate all the way. So, and what you said also about writing back, I happened to have a conversation with him. We followed it up with a little bit of a letter writing thing, and you're going to get it back. You are going. It's not going to be give it to a secretary or whatever, and they'll take care of it. No, it's Joe, and it's his handwriting, and at the end, best wishes, Joe. Great story.
It's a pretty special year over there at Notre Dame College, celebrating your 90th anniversary.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think that when people start to think about Notre Dame, they kind of forget that it has just grown so much over the last 10 years since becoming a co-ed institution. I mean, for years and years and years, it was just an all-girls school. Now, within the past 10 years or so, it really kind of has exploded over there in South Euclid. I mean, I always tell the story about how my friends and I would go over there. We'd play some baseball, some pickup games. We'd play football out there in the front yard. Nobody cared. Just because this thing, it has grown so much over the years. You set foot on that thing now. You try and play a pickup football game, the maintenance group's going to come out there. They're going to kick you off in 30 seconds because, there's a lot more to protect. And I think really there's a lot of rich tradition and history there. There's no question about it. I mean, any institution that can make it 90 years and do it the way that they have, it certainly says a lot. And again, I think that they've really kind of been put on the map the last 10 years. It's always been kind of a hidden gem, just a beautiful campus over in South Euclid. But I think it's really gotten a lot more attention over the last 10 years or so. But again, I think because of all of that, you kind of forget that, holy smokes, this thing's been around for almost a century. It's come a long, long ways, though.
And you are officially Division II?
Yes, this is the first year as a fully fledged Division II institution. They were provisional last year, passed all the tests. The NCAA cleared them to rock and roll in Division II. And obviously, when you're going out there and you're recruiting, that gives you a great deal of legitimacy as well. I mean, you can go after a different type of athlete when you've got that tag. There's no doubt about that.
On a very small level, I've been able to come through that same situation with Lake Erie College. And it's almost a deja vu type thing because they started as a club with the football and then played like an exhibition here, and then they qualified, and then they were on trial, so to speak, just like you guys. And then they got the go-ahead. Okay. And as it turns out, you end up in their league, although it's kind of short-lived because I understand next year you'll be in someone else's affiliation. But the idea is it's neat for someone like you and all their coaches and whatever to go through that because it's the infancy and you're made great strides. And like you say, I get a kick out of people when they talk about the school nowadays. They say, "Oh, that's a brand new school, isn't it?" And I'll say, "Well, no, I wasn't aware it was 90 years, but I said it's been there at least 50, 60." And they go, "No, you're wrong. That's a new school. We never heard of them." Well, yeah, they were there, but you never heard of them playing sports. Really, I mean, the girls played when the women were there, but nothing on the level it is now. So it's interesting that people, like you say, it's the new kid on the block, but it's certainly not the new kid on the block when it comes to educational institution.
Sure. It's almost like the renovated or rejuvenated kid on the block. Right? Not necessarily new, but you're right. And it's produced a lot of excitement. You know, anytime you decide you're going to unveil a football team, everybody gets excited. You have to understand you're going to endure a lot of growing pains along the way. That's a very tough thing to do. Starting a football program from scratch, you're not just going to get a bunch of five-star athletes to come through there and play for you. It's going to take some time to develop. And I think it's been fun to watch that over the years. I mean, this is only my third year with the school, but my first year there was the first year as a varsity program for football. I missed that developmental year, as you mentioned. I think it's good for every school to go through that, to at least have an idea as to what it's going to take. I think one of the cool things, too, about being around a college team is that you essentially have a chance in both genders here. You have a chance to watch boys and girls kind of grow into young men and women. And that's what that college experience really is all about. And I think that's one of the things that I really enjoy about the things that I do at Notre Dame. You have the chance to watch them evolve. And it's really a special process.
That, and another big plus, the kids in this area, the blue chippers, they're going to go to the Ohio States, they're going to go to the Notre Dames, wherever they might end up, Florida, what have you. Got a lot of good football players, and a lot of good volleyball, and a lot of good lacrosse players, and hockey, and go on and on. Local high schools that they're very good, but perhaps not as good as it takes to go to that level, but certainly good enough to play at your school, at Lake Erie College, at John Carroll, what have you. And that's what excites me. Being a longtime high school teacher and coach and athletic director, how many times did I see, even at a little school that I was at, Wycliffe, some quality players that nobody took a look at, But there wasn't Notre Dame College in those days. There wasn't Lake Erie and so on. So to me, that's what excites me. It's big time in how they do everything, and yet it's going to let let's tell it is, a little bit better than an average player participate on a college level.
Yeah, and I think that creates a whole new opportunity that did not exist, as you said, 20 to 30 years ago. It's a completely different opportunity. And you know what? When you're going through, and any Division I coach would tell you this, there are some guys and girls you just miss on. Maybe you underestimate them. You go out there, you scout them, and this happens, I would say, in every line of athletics, any sport. There are those you just kind of miss on, and it's fun to watch some of those guys and girls go on, whether it be at the D2 level, the NAI level, whatever level that might be. You had this opportunity, you had this window to step out there and shine and show what you can do. And you're right, these kinds of schools, this is what they do. They provide you this kind of opportunity to go out there and show that Division I coach, hey, you could have had me playing for you. Now I'm doing damage for somebody else.
And that little chip on the shoulder, I think sometimes that's what motivates these kids. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Sometimes you need that, right?
Yes.
Andy, also at Notre Dame College, you guys have been very successful in some of your sports. One, boys soccer. Another, the national champ wrestling coach is going to be here in a little bit. And you advanced in club rugby, I just seen last week in a newspaper. The success has been very, very common with all your sports.
Certainly has. You touched up on three big ones right there. Coach Romano was here, and you guys picked out a good one. Coach Romano's one of my favorite guys to talk to. I mean, I was telling Ray before we came back from the commercial break, Coach Romano could give you guys all 2 hours if you wanted. He's got tons of stories. He'll keep you laughing, but he's obviously done an outstanding job on College Road. There's no doubt about that. I mean, back-to-back NAI national champions. I think nobody was happier to see Notre Dame College go to Division II to the rest of those NAI wrestling schools they played every single year and just completely dominated. And now they have a chance. They're out to a great start already. They had a pretty good showing this past weekend to start their season. They'll be in action again this coming Sunday at the Michigan State Open. So I'm sure Coach Romano can tell you about all that. And then some mentioned the soccer team. They are to find out at some point tonight whether they do or do not get into the field of 36 for the national championship tournament. Early word was they had a pretty good chance. I'm not clued into that process enough to know how good or bad the chances were, but I think they should know by now. But the word I heard before I came over here was that they felt pretty good about their chances. And, a couple of years ago, they were the national runner-up. And the NAI lost to the finals. I mean, they darn near ran the gauntlet that year, won over 20 games. And,
wasn't that their only loss that year?
You're right. That was their only loss that year. I mean, Coach Mac McBride has been there, for an entire decade. I mean, Mac has been there since they started that program back in 2001. And he really has taken that thing from start to finish, and what you have now is something that's pretty rare. And like Coach Romana has with his wrestling program, man, how rare is it for you to see a school jump right in its first year as a Division II institution and be, in Coach Romano's instance, perhaps the favorite to win the whole thing, or in the case of the Notre Dame men's soccer program, be one of the perennial favorites. I mean, just the first year in, to step in and be a field of that 36, that would certainly be a pretty big accomplishment.
Andy, there's only so many broadcast jobs. Are you safe at home at Notre Dame College, or down the road would you look to maybe do a professional sport of some type?
That's an interesting question. I can phrase it this way. I think there will always be aspirations to want to make it to the big league level somehow, some way. Now, knowing all the politics that are involved with that, there's a lot you have to endure along the way. When I first got into the business, I always said, I want to be able to make it to the top level somewhere in the broadcasting business. And I think that shocked my old boss. But I'll always respect him for this. He admired that I told him that up front, because every baseball guy runs through, and if you start out at the minor league level, the idea is you want to do what you have to do in order to make it to the big leagues. Well, for me, that would be awesome to make it to the big leagues. And to be in the broadcast booth of Major League Baseball, you've got to take your lumps. I mean, you've got to be riding the bus, getting your saddle scars, doing what you have to do in order to make it. And, I mean, some guys last that long, some guys don't. You know what I mean? It just kind of depends. I think for me, it really kind of depends on what opportunity is out there. You can't take that opportunity just because you think this is going to take me to the pinnacle of the profession. I should just go ahead and do it. I learned a long time ago that while that line of work is a lot of fun, I mean, you're talking sports. What could be better than that? Whether you're calling a game, you're hosting a talk show, whatever the case may be, it's that kind of life is not worth living if you don't have a life outside of your job. You have to be able to enjoy both aspects of that, because I know guys in this business who just dedicated their lives to trying to get to that level. Mm-hmm. I just kind of flamed out at AA. Some guys flamed out at AAA, and somewhere along the way, I think they just kind of lost whatever it is the rest of us have. In the summertime, especially around here, that's the best time to at least have some time to sit back and enjoy the finer things of this area. I think in the wintertime, we're bogged down. We spend so much time inside. We don't really get a chance to get out and enjoy things. When you're in the baseball, you don't get those same luxuries. You don't. I'm not going to sit here and complain about the fact that you get the chance to hang out with baseball players all throughout the year. You're pretty much living their lifestyle. But case in point, some friends of yours are having a cook-up. You can't go to it. You're working that night. Sure. And that's not something you could just tell your boss, hey, look, I want to go ahead and take this Saturday off, hang out with my buddies. He's going to say, you know what? I got about 15 other guys that would love your job. So if that's what you plan to do, just don't be prepared to come back into the office.
And they're waiting outside, by the way.
Yeah, I figured, yeah. But that's, that's an interesting question. And, Charlie, I get that quite a bit. And I think for me, it's a question that has a different answer every time it's asked. But, I've been at this for about 15 years, and that's nothing compared to what some of the other guys who I know have gone through to try and make it where they want to go, whether that be calling games at the NBA level, the NFL level, or at the Major League Baseball level. Everybody that aspires to get into broadcast at some point wants to get there. You have to be able to enjoy the journey to get there. And I don't think a lot of guys do that. I think a lot of those guys, they look to the finish line and they just don't enjoy the steps that it takes, the process it takes, or the experience.
Sure.
I think that's the best part about that job, because once you get there, you got to think of it this way. In the world of baseball especially, you have tons and tons of affiliates. I want to say there are about 150 jobs. Minor league baseball, thereabouts. Throw the non-affiliated clubs in there, the independent teams, you're looking at maybe a field of 200 guys. They're all lobbying for 30 slots in Major League Baseball. 30. And that really isn't that goes to show you that funneling effect. Your chances of getting up there just aren't very good. So if you ever get up there, you have to at least admire the fact that you got there. And you have to admire the steps you took to get there.
Well, I'll let Ray ask you the last question, as we're almost at the bottom of the hour, and it'll be Frank Romano time. Ray, one broadcaster to the next?
Yeah, a real good one to my right. Let me tell you that, too. Not just because he's sitting there, and that opportunity is going to come. There's no doubt in my mind.
I appreciate that, Ray.
But you know what you just said. I mean, it is on straight. I'm much older than you. My career was in teaching and coaching, and because of a break here and there, I able to do the Cavaliers PA work when they were at the Coliseum, and that opened doors when I retired to do the things I'm doing now. So I mean, they joke, some of my buddies and I say, our expiration day, we're past our expiration dates. I hope it's not tomorrow, but we are past it. But the bottom line, someone like yourself, a young man in the business, you were very sincere in what you said and honest, because if the opportunity's there, take it if it's the right situation. If it isn't, be happy with what you're doing. And you know what? You come across that way when I hear you broadcast. So keep up that aspect of it, and that opportunity will be there. And there's no doubt, because your talent is very, very good.
Ray, I appreciate that.
No problem.
I think
Thank you.
Well, thanks for being here, Andy. Make sure you sign that banner, because I'll have that autograph when you get up to the big leagues.
Let me know. I got you. Anytime.
Okay,
I appreciate that.
And I want to be in the booth and get your coffee or something. So don't forget about this night here at Mill Tavern.
This is Mondays with Malta. You can catch us on Facebook at Mondays with Malta and Ray Malavic, mondayswithmalta.tumblr.com, Twitter at Malta on Mondays. We are the Talk of the Town, AM 1330 WELW and www.welw.com. Next, Frank Romano and Notre Dame College Wrestling. Thanks to Andy Barch.
Problem? You're pretty handy and not afraid of hard work. And there's a big job to get done. But who has equipment you need, fast and cheap? CCM Rental Menor, the super alternative, has lifts, excavators, loaders, dozers, everything, and experienced experts to advise you on how and how not to. They can deliver or save even more and do it yourself, around the house, in the yard, or on the job. It just makes sense and saves dollars. Call CCM Rental Menor first before you buy. Visit ccmrental.com.
I stand one with those who cannot stand for themselves. For 75% of the world, religious freedom is only a dream, and Christians are the largest group of people who face persecution every single day. Be one of the millions who stand one with them Sunday, November the 11th, and pray for the same thing. Strength and courage for the ones who share our faith, but not our freedom. Be a part of the International Day of Prayer for the Persecuted Church. Register online at onewiththem.com. That's onewiththem.com, or call 1-888-322-3345. That's 1-888-322-3345. We have videos, testimonies, bulletin inserts, and more free resources for your day of prayer, November the 11th. Stand together with millions of Christians in churches all over the world to pray for the persecuted. Log on today, onewiththem.com. That's onewiththem.com.
Asa Cox Homes.
Did you ever put in a new faucet and flood the kitchen? Or reverse the connections in your shower and hot was cold and cold was hot? Everyone has their own plumbing horror story. But no matter what plumbing story you have, Tom Schaefer Plumbing can fix your drip or disaster. For over 80 years, Tom Schaefer Plumbing has been your trusted plumber with reliable service. Because accidents happen. Call Tom Schaefer Plumbing, 440-602-7300. 602-7300.
Connect Ohio is offering free training to help you learn to use computers and the internet. Call 1-855-NOW-I-CAN to enroll in free local classes and find out what you can do with broadband. That's 1-855-669-4226.
Sponsored by Connect Ohio and aired by the OAV and this station.
It's truck season, and Pat O'Brien Chevrolet has them. Over 860 trucks, and every one is GM preferred price, and you keep the rebates up to $8,000. Buy yours fast and easy at Pat O'Brien Chevrolet with 4 convenient locations. You'll find over 2,000 vehicles on sale at Pat O'Brien Chevrolet. Every car, every truck is GM preferred priced, and you keep the rebates up to $8,000. Buy yours fast and easy at Pat O'Brien Chevrolet with 4 convenient locations.
Hey, this is Steve Newman. I'm inviting you to join me every Thursday afternoon between 4 and 5 for The Steve Newman Show. We'll talk about world, national, and local politics and take your calls too. All here on the Talk of the Town, AM 1330, WELW.
Welcome back, everybody, to Mondays with Malta. Ray Malavic, too. I'm Ray, and it's good to have you with us once again here on AM 1330. Remember, every Monday night from 7 to 9. If you can't join us at the live remote that we do, and right now we're at Joe Puno's Mill Tavern. Next week we'll be at Cleats. Remember, next week it's the Jack Borky promotes and presents the Legends Show. And next week we're going to have Greg Pruitt, number 34, one of the outstanding running back kick returners of the Browns of yesteryear. Cleo Miller, wore number 33, my favorite number. He'll be with us. And the coach, Sam Ratigliano. So those three will be with us next week, all 2 hours. So come on out live, talk to the coach and Cleo and Greg, and autographs, pictures, whatever you want, and join in on the conversation and fun at Cleats. Today's program, as always, brought to you by D&W Goods, by Pepco, and that is the producer of next week's show. Jack Borky, the owner there. Clements Construction. Matrix Tool and Machine with Rich Wilson running the show there. Menor Family Foods, P.J. Conway. We mentioned that P.J. was in the house before we got on the air tonight. It was good to see him. Forenza Stone with Mike Femiani. Their new beautiful location at 37033 Vine. That's in Willoughby, specializing in granite, marble, engineered stone countertops. Judy Moran for commissioner, the eve of the election. This time tomorrow night, should have a pretty good idea of who won, who lost, and we hope that Judy comes out on top. A 14-year member to Willowick Council, where I grew up in Willowick. My dad still resides there at 86 years young, and I know he's putting in a vote for Judy Moran. And Kramer Printing, Lenny Kramer, the owner-operator with the best in college, pro, high school, and recreation league programs. I mean, when Lenny does a program, you think you're looking at the Cleveland Browns, because it's always done professionally. So thanks to all those sponsors. And now we have a great guest with us. Gentleman has been with us before here at the Mill, and what a job he's done, not just on the college level lately, but on the high school level before that. And his business is wrestling. Yep. He does nothing but the best in that field, and it's Coach Romano. How are you?
Good, Coach. Good to be here.
How you doing?
Good.
I wanted to remind everyone to stop in to see Joe Puno here at the Mill. It's just a great place, and Cindy behind the bar, and perched in the corner there is Joe Canavino. Might have been the greatest college football player ever. You know that?
And a part of one of the best shows we ever had here.
I know. He was here when
throwbacks. Yeah.
Yep. He's waving us to the out there, and just stop in. Great food, great place to come, and great camaraderie. And it's great to have Frank Romano on, because the stories are tremendous, and back-to-back state titles. National titles, back-to-back national titles. He had a couple state titles himself when he was in high school. But Frank, what a program! Now you're Division II, and Andy was telling us you're a favorite to be the national, to go three-peat. It's fantastic what you're doing over there.
Well, we've been really fortunate in the last 3 years. We won the NAI national title back-to-back, 2010 and 11. We also won the National Dual Meet Championship, and then last year we put the team in what they call the National Collegiate Wrestling Association, which is a combination of teams that are moving from one division to another, or teams that have dropped from one division to club, teams that are going from 2 to 1, NAI to 2, transitional teams, and they were in just clubs per se, where places like Liberty University dropped wrestling, they became a club. There's about 210 of those teams in the United States, and so we entered that process so I could have the kids on the team have something to shoot for. So we entered the process. We became part of that division because we really were in limbo. They wouldn't let us wrestle in the NAI national tournament. They wouldn't let us wrestle in D2 national tournament. So in order to have a carrot at the end of the season, I thought that would be a good plan, and worked out really well. We entered the process. We went to their qualifier at the end of the season. We won the qualifier, which qualified everybody, every weight class, and we won their national championship. So we won 3 in a row, and a total of 5 with the duels. And so now with the redshirting that we did last year and the positioning of the team, plus all those kids back around the team last year, and we also had the #1 recruiting class in the country. I need to explain that a little bit. In collegiate wrestling, there's Division 1, 2, 3, NAI, junior college, and this club division. In Division 1, they have top 20 recruiting classes in the country every year. Amateur Wrestling News does that, and Wrestling USA does that. But they take the rest of the divisions, 2, 3, NAI, and junior college, and the club division, and they put them all together, and they come up with the #1 recruiting class, and that was us.
Wow.
So we had a lot of great recruits. We recruited a kid out of California who's ranked #1 in the country. Not just in California, but in the whole United States in his weight class.
What weight class is that?
165. His name is Joey Davis, and he won Super 32. He won 2 California state titles, and he was ranked all season long, actually for 2 years in a row at 165.
Write that name down.
Yeah,
Joey Davis.
Joey Davis, write it down. But this past weekend we were at Eastern Michigan, and he outclassed everybody, won easy. Tech fall in the finals. Tech Falder pinned everybody.
How did you do this weekend? We
had a great tournament. We entered about 30-odd kids. There's 2 divisions. One was for the younger kids, freshman and sophomore, and then was for the open. We had 6 men in the finals. We had 3 winners, 3 seconds. Joey Davis won. Johnny Rivera won. He's another freshman, redshirt freshman. He was the Dave Schultz Award winner 2 years ago in Georgia. He's a 2-time state champ. We had Mason was second, Miller was second. Loudon Gordon, a state champ out of Wadsworth. He was the guy who pinned the St. Ed's kid so Wadsworth could win the state title 2 years ago. He's on our team. He was first. I don't want to leave anybody out. We have Rivera was first. Joey Davis was first. Miller was second. Loudon was first. We had a great tournament. And we had a lot of other kids place. We had 11 place winners.
Frank, you talked about, you having Joey comes from California, and you've got such a hotbed right here. Yeah. I mean, with Ed's, with
Watford, we do. We still recruit nationally.
Graham, I mean,
the most of the kids, we have kids from St. Patrick's Graham on the team. Most of the kids are from Ohio, but we do have kids from California, Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan. My recruiters, they go everywhere.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Right.
Wow. Some of the names of the other kids that will be on the team this year?
Yeah, Brian Hauser, a local kid from Brush, who was second in the state, second at the national tournament. He's one of our 18-pounders. Johnny Papish, 25-pounders now, changed the weight. Johnny Papish is from Aurora. He's transferred from Campbellsville. He was national runner-up in NAI when he was at Campbellsville. 33, we have a kid out of Florida. His name is Ayers. We also have Perez, who was a starter last year. Wrestled in the club tournament. 41 is Miller. Miller's out of Canton McKinley. 49 is Loudon Gordon goes 49-57. He's state champ out of Wadsworth. We have that John Rivera at 49. We also had a transfer from William Penn. His name is Berge. He was NAI national champ last year. Transferred from William Penn, which is an NAI school in Iowa. 57 is Jeff Pelton. He was NAI national champ for us. 65 is Joey. And also Anthony Burge, who was a starter last year. 74 is John Bittinger. He's from Beaver Local. He was national champ for us last year in the club. 84 is we have a transfer from Kent State, Brandon Johnson, who was in the Division I national tournament. 97 is kind of up in the air. Blackwell's been trying to make that weight. He's from Florida. He was a state runner-up. And heavyweight is Orlando Scales, who was national champ in NAI 2 years ago. We redshirted him last year. He was second in the NAI national tournament and first. He was the #1 recruit 3 years ago. He was a 2-time state champ in Ohio. He was ranked #1 in the country, too.
Yeah, which high school was that?
He was Elder.
Yeah, there you go.
He's a great football player.
Right.
He didn't play football in college. In the title game when Elder played Eds 3 years ago, he made 20 solo tackles.
Wow.
In a high school football game. He's a really good athlete. And he's our heavyweight, and he's a junior. So that's pretty much it. We have a big squad, though. We had 66 kids come out, and we're down to about 58, something like that.
Now, Frank, different than high school, they don't actually wrestle off, do they?
Well, it depends. We had actually a blue and white kind of wrestle off a week and a half ago. We had a great crowd. Actually filled the gym, which I was really happy about. We do have some of those, but in these open tournaments, we get to see, for example, if we have two guys and we enter both of them, and one guy, takes first, and the other guy goes 0-2 and out. Well, we kind of got an idea what's going on, and we do several of those. But if it really came down to where they're really close, we would do that because we want to be fair. And I enter these open tournaments so everybody gets a chance because we have a huge squad, and there's only 10 weight classes in college. There are no JV teams, so in order to really get a look at all your people, you want to have something where they can compete, live, because it's a whole different ball game than practice. And we get a pretty good idea, and they get a pretty good idea because you want to be fair.
Who do you have helping you out in the role?
We have a great staff. My number one assistant is Anthony Ralph, who's been with me since the inception of the program. He wrestled for me when I was the head coach at Kent State. He was a Mid-American Conference champ. He's a two-time state champ from Chanel. Also, he was runner-up. He's my number one assistant. My number two assistant is Jake Pataxel. He's new. He was first year last year. He was an All-American. He took fifth in the country at Purdue in Division I. He also was the recipient of the Big Ten Medal of Honor, which is emblematic of scholar athlete in the whole university. He's my number two assistant. And Keith Aaron also started for Purdue. He's my grad assistant. Then we just picked up another assistant. We picked up Sonny Marchetti, who was a well-known name in Ohio. He's a two-time state champ in Ohio. He was junior college national champ. He's a part-time assistant. We have a great staff. And they're young, and they're everybody knows who they are, and they're good recruiters, and they're what we call lifers. They're in it for the life.
You really sound like
talking to
right now, you're talking to lifers.
You really sound like you enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, really still enjoy it very much. Even though society has changed and wrestling is a real difficult sport, there's still people out there that are really into it, and that's the kind of people we try to find who want to be college students who want to get a degree. Because that's important.
That's right.
Coach, I've been always wanting to ask this question, and no better person to give me an honest, straight answer than you. You look on a high school level of a sport, let's say football, and you have a St. Ed's, let's just use them as an example, and they're going to play my old school, Wycliffe High School. Okay, total, complete mismatch. The winner will be St. Ed's unless upset happens of the decade or the century.
You're probably right.
Okay, now we'll go jump up to the the college level in football. Ohio State taking on Lake Erie College. Okay. Both college football programs, but again, the result is known before they even get on the bus to get here. It's over with. Wrestling. You got, let's say, who was the number one in Division I last year? Was it Iowa?
Penn State.
Penn State. Okay. So let's just use them for example. Penn State, and they're going to wrestle you guys in a dual meet.
They're going to win.
They're going to win.
Yeah, they're going to win.
And you're confident of that. But, I mean, I think you know where I'm getting at. Is it going to be that absolute blowout type thing?
Maybe not. Maybe not, because there are certain kids that, could wrestle at really any
division. It's such an individual thing.
It is an individual thing. And you'll get kids from D2 and even D3 or NAI that could be better than some Division I guys. Yeah, that could happen. And it does happen. The reason that we won't find out too much is that when they went to terminal tournaments, say, now it's Division I, II, and III in the NCAA. And terminal tournaments mean you only get to go to your division's national tournament. But years ago, they would allow NAI people, Division III people, Division II people to go to the Division I tournament. They don't do that anymore. Actually, when it was called the university level for wrestling, then they had the college level. They used to let the college champ or second or third go to the university and see how well they would do. They would even, if you go back far enough, let the NAIA guys go to the university tournaments. But they don't do that anymore. They call them terminal tournaments. So when you commit to go to whatever division you want, it's pretty tough unless you get an open tournament.
In there. Yeah.
For example, this past weekend, we wrestled a lot of guys from Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, Eastern Michigan, all Division I schools, and my guys did very well against them. In the finals, Joey Davis wrestled a guy at 65 from Eastern Michigan, and he won by a tech fall. Jonathan Rivera wrestled a guy from Michigan in the finals, and he just romped over him. Yeah, so that can happen. And so to answer your question, Yeah, that could happen more often than not. Just depends. Now, a big part of it is money, because NAI has the way they do the money. It's much. The way they do the money in NAI is totally different than Division I and II. And in Division III, like a John Carroll, technically they don't have scholarships.
Right.
They give money, but technically they do not have grants, scholarships. But they have other ways of getting money because it's very costly to go to college. But Division I has 9.9. We have 9 full rides at any point in time. It's called equivalency. See, it's pretty, unless you know how the scholarships go. It's, for example, football and basketball in Division I are head count sports. Have you ever heard that term?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Not many people know what that means.
Right.
What that means is the NCAA created a rule so that if you give a scholarship to anybody in football and men or women's basketball in Division I, you have to give them a full ride. You can't give them a partial. You're either a preferred walk-on, or a full-ride person. And those are the only 2 sports, football and basketball. And what makes it even stranger is women's basketball gets 15 fulls, men gets 13. Now, is men's basketball popular in this country? Of course it is. It's Final Four,
somewhere around
Elite
March,
8.
That's all you hear.
That's all you hear, man. And most people don't even know that. It's scholarships. And D2.
Really interesting. Yeah.
D2. Well, let's see. Football, you get 85 fulls in Division I and 63 fulls in 1AA, which is now called the Championship Subdivision. Division II is 36, and it's equivalency. So, it's just all those particulars mean a lot. So in Division I, if you're a wrestling coach, and and most of those teams have caps. The AD will say you can only have 28 guys on the team, and what if all of them get hurt? What if half of them get hurt? By the time the end of the season, you'll be lucky to have your team together, But we don't have that limitation. We want more people on the team because it's student driven. So we don't have a cap. And the way they do money in NAI is completely different because it only counts if you participate. So that's a factor in even though it's an individual sport, that's a factor. And then it's the prestige of it. Everybody wants to say they're on scholarship. Everybody.
All right. Frank, we really appreciate you being on here tonight. We've got about a couple more minutes here.
Okay.
What's the upcoming for Notre Dame College in the next couple of, weeks?
Yeah, we go to Michigan State this weekend, open tournament, same as Eastern Michigan. It'll be even more difficult. There'll probably be at least half of the Big Ten there with people. And then after that, we have a dual meet. We had first time we have dual meet with these people in a couple of years. Mount Union College, they're Division III. They agreed to. Well, we're going down there, so it's their home meet. So they're a little bit more amenable if we go to their place. We have trouble a lot of times having people come to our place, but we have Mount Union, and then we have the Cleveland State Open, which is strictly a D1 Open too. I try to get them in all D1 Opens, so they see these guys from the Division I schools all across the country, and then. We do have matches against all the GLIAC teams because we're an affiliate member of the GLIAC. And the GLIAC has 5 teams that have wrestling. Lake Erie, Ashland, Findlay, Tiffin, and us. So we're going to wrestle all 4 of those teams, 2 at home, 2 and away. And then we also have we got invited to the national duels. The national duels, in each division they have the national duels. They invite the top 16 teams in the country in Division II. And we petitioned to get in there because we weren't in Division II last year. We were kind of in limbo, and I didn't think they would let us in because it's a kind of a, if you're not in the division, why should you let them in? Mm-hmm. But we petitioned, and we sent them our roster, and we said we'd really like to be in if you will accept us, and they'll let us in. So we're the team that was not in the division that's in the national duels this year. That's in January. It's in Springfield, Illinois. And right now we're ranked 6th in the preseason rankings with the Bassford poll, which is a new poll. The coaches poll has got us ranked 8th. But there's a couple guys that they haven't considered because they're just freshmen, like they haven't considered Joey Davis.
They're going to do.
So we're going to have to see what's going to happen. But it's a good place to start. No matter what the polls say, you have to do it.
Well, we appreciate you coming on tonight, Frank. We've got our final guest when we got about 8 minutes, and that's one of our sponsors. But because you're one of our favorite guests.
Okay.
Frank Romano.
Thank you.
Success.
Boy, you really taught us a lot, I'll tell you.
Are you kidding me?
Fantastic.
I thought I knew a little bit about wrestling. I knew nothing, but I know now. Thank you, Coach.
So that was Frank Romano. It was great to have Notre Dame College along with Andy Barch. And it gives us great pleasure to introduce one of our sponsors of our show. And she's running for commissioner tomorrow, and that is Judy Moran. Welcome to our show, Judy.
Hi, Charlie. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, Judy, it's all coming down to one more day, less than 24 hours. The polls open in, let's see, it's 9 o'clock in about 9.5 hours. All the work.
They'll be open till 7:30 tomorrow night.
And I just can't believe how well you sound after all this campaign. And aren't you just whacked out?
Oh, my gosh, Charlie, it has been such a ride, let me tell you. It's been such a positive experience for the most part, and my message has never changed. So I've got the positive message to make Lake County the premier county in Ohio, and I invite all of Lake County to join with me in that by casting their vote tomorrow for Judy Moran.
Judy, a little bit about the job. What will you be doing once you're commissioner? I know you won't be our council president anymore, but we're pretty excited that you're going to move on and be our new commissioner in Lake County. What will you be doing?
I am looking very much forward. I mean, there's some serious issues to be tackled, one of them being the airport. In Willoughby, the budget crunch is just as bad as it is in Willowick. We just have to do the more with less and see what we can accomplish with that. The commissioners oversee the jails, the court, the election board, the sheriff's office. I mean, there's plenty to do. There's no shortage of work, let me tell you. But I'm looking forward to it, and I honestly think I'm up to the task.
Oh, there's no question. I know you are working hand in hand in the last 5 years. I've been councilman there in Willowick. Judy,
thank you. That's nice.
Well, that's true. We're going to miss you dearly. I'll tell you that. We're going to be taking a step backward until we get righted there. Once you do move on. But what cities do you encompass as a commissioner?
Everything from Willowick out to Madison. It's Madison, Leroy, Willoughby Hills, Willowick, Wickliffe, Willoughby, Eastlake, Timberlake, Lakeline, Kirtland Hills, Wade Hill. And Mentor. Oh, my gosh, Mentor.
Well, and you know what? I also got to laud you on the fact that I've seen every piece of literature because I'm a mailman, and it's got to be close to 200 pieces of literature, unlike any other political campaign I've ever seen. And I've got to laud you for the fact that I've never seen any dirt or trash talking and any piece of mail that you sent out. It was all positive, like you started this first conversation with Ray and I.
Thank you, Charlie. I'm really glad that you mentioned that because we have been keeping our campaign positive. We have not gotten down in the mud and played with the other side, and I have no intention of doing that. I mean, I have to get up and look at myself in the mirror and say that I am doing a good job and that I have not, sunk to that level. We've kept our message positive, and we're going to continue to do that.
Judy, this is Ray Malavic. I also want to wish you best of luck tomorrow.
All right, thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. I grew up in Willowick. I was born there and lived there most of my life. I have a dad who's still a resident on East 326th Street at 86 years young. And
awesome.
and it's just a great community. I live in Mentor now for many years, but I mean, I grew up there, so I know a lot about it, and I have to I don't know much about politics, and I'll be honest and tell you that. I got my politician to my left and you on the line, but I do know a lot about donuts. And as you can see the waistline, and I had many of yours over the years. And how long were you in that business on Vine Street?
That business for just shy of 5 years, 3 months shy of 25 years.
Well,
I miss it every day.
Well,
it was a great place. I loved my customers, and they were the best.
It was that type of place, too, where you just come in, have a cup of coffee, some of those delicious donuts, and a lot of the issues of the world were discussed on those little bar stools there. But
actually, that's very true. That's very true. That's where a lot of politicians got their start.
and it was always like home too. So I miss those, particularly there was a Bavarian cream that I was a very partial.
I like her. She had a vanilla cream that was fabulous.
Cream, yeah, that was it too. But anyway, I'm getting hungry now. But the bottom line is really best of luck tomorrow. You ran a beautiful campaign, and this time tomorrow we'll know the winners, the losers, and we'll find out what's going on.
Yes,
Judy,
we will, and thank you.
Judy, where will you be parked? Where will you be parked at 6:30 for our listeners that might want to come out and just shake your hand?
I will probably be up at East Lake North at that time, and then from there we'll go over to Regovich's on Lakewood and watch the results come in.
Okay, and I'll be at East Lake North at 6, campaigning for Judy, so I'll be there and looking forward to that and meeting some of the East Lake residents and getting their vote for Judy Moran. Judy, you have run a wonderful campaign, and I'm very excited for you because it's a job you deserve, and best of luck. I'll get to spend the next 2 months before you get sworn in, and it will be a 2 months that bittersweet for all of us in Willowood.
Thank you, Charlie. Like I said, it's been a great campaign. I'm very proud of all my campaign workers. They've been incredibly helpful, and you as well. So thank you for having me on the show.
Well, thanks for being a sponsor, and I didn't even have to ask twice. You said you love to do it, and we love having you on here the night before the election. So congratulations on doing such a great job, and good luck in your future endeavor.
Thank you. Maybe I'll be on next week, and we can chat about the aftermath. How's that?
There you go. All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. This is Mondays with Malta. We'd like to thank all our sponsors, D&W Goods, Pepco, Clements Construction, Matrix Tool, Menor Family Foods, Forenza Stone, Judy Moran for Commissioner, and Kramer Printing. We'd like to thank everyone for listening, and make it a point to stop out and see Joe Puno at the Mill Tavern, because I'll tell you, the food is fabulous, the camaraderie is second to none, and I'll tell you, it's just a great place to come. You know, from my friendship to yours, we got a friend in Joe Puno forever. Glenn Foley, thank you. Alan Parrish, thank you very much. We'll see you next week at... Whoop, we're off the air. No, we're still on. I thought we were. We'll see you next week for our Brown Show at Cleats. Bye for now.